Hello. Today we are talking about the power of starting. We had started this live video earlier and we had a technical hitch and now we have to start over again. And those are some of the lessons I've learned, that sometimes when you start things, they may not go as you expected. But it's also, you have to know there is power in starting again. If you start something and it fails, you don't give up and go like it can never work. So as we talk about the power of starting, there is also the power of starting again. Because so many people, when we fail, we feel disabled and crippled, and we feel like we don't want to start again. And there is a saying that there is this quote that goes like, once beaten, twice shy. And some people are really shy sometimes to start again. And just like we had to restart this live video again, even in our lives, at times there are people who started things. They were very bold and courageous, and they started and they knew this is it, this is going to work. And they got to a place, it didn't work. And now they feel timid and shy to start again. But it's just to encourage somebody who started something and he has failed, that you can always start again. Or you should always start again. You should never give up. And not just again, you can always start again and start again until you make it. You never give up on starting. Many a times when we want to start, at times we are crippled by a disease or something called procrastination. We keep on postponing for tomorrow. But we have got to get to a place where we say, I'm going to start this today, and set a deadline that I'm going to start this, and make sure you start it. I was reading this book, and the book is called The Power of Starting Stupid. I haven't read the entire book, but just the review I read is about, you can't always wait to be prepared. Like we always say, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, not even knowing maybe how you'll go through the 1,000 miles, because it's tough. But when you make the first step, the things keep unfolding and you keep getting strength to move on. And someone also said, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So that place of starting is so important, even when you're not sure how the journey will be. Even when you're not sure how the rest, the resources, whether you will have resources for the rest of the journey. But once you take the first step, and you kick off the journey and you kill the disease of procrastination, because that's what really cripples most of us from starting. You keep on saying, I'll start tomorrow. And like we know, tomorrow never comes. You got to set a date, set a deadline, and start, whether you feel so prepared or not. Of course, you can try and prepare as much as you can. But let me tell you, even when we were starting to do this video, I didn't feel prepared. And the crew told me, you just have to start and you'll know how to continue as you move on. So there's that power of just taking a bold step and starting. Taking that bold step and starting. When I started doing these videos, I felt like this can never happen. I can't be able to do this. But I started. I kept on doing them. And the more I do them, the more I feel more comfortable. I may not be there yet. Some people who are more pros can look and go like, he has a long way to go. But I started, and by me starting, I've given so many other people courage to start. Because they will look at me and go like, if he can do it, I can also do it. Some people out there are even maybe even more eloquent, and they're able to even do so many things, but they haven't started. They feel, they at the beginning they're timid to start. They're feeling they need to wait for perfection, for a perfect time. And that perfect time, I tell you the truth, never comes. I'm not saying you should not be excellent and you should not seek excellence in what you're doing. But excellence is different for perfection. Anytime you wait for perfection, you'll never get to do anything. Because perfection never comes. You keep on trying to perfect things every day. You keep on perfecting what you did yesterday. But if you didn't start, what are you going to improve? So it's very important to summon your strength and start at some point. And when you start, you keep on learning better ways of doing things, better ways of of doing whatever what you have started. So I know most of you have had these thoughts. There is something you've always wanted to start. It's either a business, it's either writing a song, it's either writing a book. I'm one of those people who've always wanted to write a book, and I've kept on procrastinating. And so I'm also speaking to myself and telling myself, you have to start that book. And someone told me, just start by writing one page. Just start by scribbling, those ideas you have. Put them on a book, and you will get somebody who will come and help you put the book together. So I know very soon we'll be launching my first book, because I've already started gathering ideas and writing them down. So I know very soon, like I've promised, I'll have the book ready. But I've discovered it's not easy to start. For many years, I think for more than 5 years, I've been thinking about writing this book, and at times I don't get enough courage to start. I'm like, how will I write it? But I discovered the other day, when you start with the first step, it gets easier. It gets easier, because the other day I met someone who's an author and a publisher. And he told me, give me those rough ideas you have. And he can put them together. So you don't need to get all the resources. You don't need to be perfect to start. But when you start, you actually get people who come to support you and support what you're doing. And all these people plug in to help you achieve or bring to fruition what you've started. And just like that book I'm telling you, Power of Starting Stupid. Yes, at times you feel very stupid when you're starting. At times the ideas that we conceive feel very stupid. The people who've conceived some ideas and that feel stupid, feel like this can never be something. But let me tell you, the people who started building a plane were actually not only termed as stupid, they were termed as insane. They were actually termed as insane. How can metal fly? You're crazy, you're stupid, they were termed as insane. And so many other things that we use today and make our lives much easier. People started, and the other people looked at them as insane. So even those ideas that you have that look insane and crazy, when you start them, tomorrow, those are the ideas that people will rely on. And people will wonder, how did we do without this? I like what Steve Jobs said, that if he asked people what they needed, he didn't need to ask, to look at what people needed and what people required at that time. But he needed to create something that people didn't know that they needed, and then make them wonder later, how did we do without this? Can you imagine life without a car today? But somebody sat, when people are looking at the fastest horse and how they can make horses run faster and all that, how they can make better horse carriages, and people were just doing that. But somebody sat and thought, we need something better, we need a car, we need something totally new. And they created a car. Today, you can never imagine life without a car. Somebody sat and thought about internet. Today, we can never imagine life without internet. Somebody sat and thought about a camera, like we are using today, and the lights and all that, and you can never think life without that. So when you initiate at the beginning, it may look crazy, especially for innovators and those people who have come up with ideas that look crazy. There are times you don't have to consult everyone, and you don't have to wait for everybody to validate your idea. Once you're so conceived that this can work, you have to take a bold step and start. Summon all your courage and just start, and don't wait until you're so ready and so prepared to start. Just start. Just start from where you are, and you'll find that things keep unfolding and things keep getting better. People keep plugging in to your idea and make it and perfect it. Somebody sat and thought about education, and they started education. And the system has been improved so many times. Can you imagine the people who started university education? Which university had they gone to? Because there's a person who started the first school. Which school had they gone to? The people who started the first university. Did they have a degree? Because there was no other university before then. So that means the time for starting something new. Even today, there are many new innovations that we are supposed to come up with. And I know so many people are coming up with innovations. But there are people who have thought that, for me, I'm not an innovator. I can't start something. But I want to let you know there's something you can start. Whether it's that small, however small it may be, that small thing needs to plug in on another thing that makes things better. And then, like we said, there's power in starting over again. Because most of us, we start things, we fail, and we feel disarmed and discouraged and shy to start again. Like I talked about the saying of once bitten, twice shy. I would say for champions, because we call these champion mindset talks. The champion is not the person who keeps winning. The champion is a person who's knocked down and they rise again. The champion is a person who loses a fight and they live to fight another day. The champion is not the person who, when you're punched once, you're knocked down and you say, I can never do this again. The champion is a person who's knocked down and you rise again and say, I'll keep fighting. And if you don't win that day, you summon your courage and you practice again and say, I'll fight another day until you win. You persist until you overcome and become something. A champion is not a person without scars. A champion is someone who has so many scars they have gotten along the way because they have fought fights. They have lost some and they win some. And even if you haven't won any battle yet, your time of winning is coming. If you persist and you keep pushing and you rise again, dust yourself, you stand a chance. But if you don't stand, after going down, you don't stand any chance. So the biggest one of the things we need for us to start over again, the first thing you need is to stand again, dust yourself. Because like I've said, if you don't stand, you don't stand any chance. If you just lie there and feel like I've been knocked down, I cannot start again, you don't stand a chance. So you have to rise again to be a champion. You have to summon your energy and what you have and decide, I can do this again. I can do this again. And the people who go to, who exercise and they go to the gym, there are times you feel like, I cannot work out. I cannot do this. I cannot go beyond a certain level. But at times you push yourself and discover even the limit you had set for yourself and where you felt like you're going to faint. You discover you actually go beyond. You push yourself beyond that. At times I've gone to the gym and I've seen even some people fainting. They faint, they rise again and they keep moving. They keep moving. But every time you feel weak, every time you feel like you don't have strength and you agree with that, you can never become a champion. You can never do something meaningful with your life. So there is power in starting. There is power in starting again. There is power in starting small. Yes, you can think big because some of us are also crippled by this idea that you have this mega idea in your mind, but you're thinking you need to wait until you start big. No. Start small. Think big, but start small. Take a step at a time. Like you said, a journey of 1,000 miles begin with one step. So at times you may be looking at 1,000 miles and think maybe you need to take a leap. You need to thrust yourself to the 1,000 miles. That will not happen. So there is power in starting small, taking the first step. Yeah, like I think it's Martin Luther Jr. King who said that if you can't fly, walk. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, do something. Do something. So if your first step is start by crawling. And like I gave an analogy the other day of a baby. When a baby is starting, the baby starts by even just moving hands. And as parents, you're happy when you see the baby moving hands. It's a milestone. And as we mark those milestones, the baby then can crawl, can crawl, then can walk and staggers and falls and rises again and falls. But if a baby waits, if you tell a baby, no, wait until you can walk properly, that baby will never walk. But you've got to allow that baby not just to take the baby steps, but to take the baby crawling and to take the baby movements for that baby to ever run. And even the fastest people we see today, they started by making the small movements, crawling and rising and falling and making one step. And as parents, we are happy about those milestones. So even as grown-ups, we also have to allow ourselves a chance to rise and stagger and fall for us to get to that place of running and jumping and doing all manner of things. We have to allow ourselves. Everything starts as a baby or even as an idea conceived, and you have to allow it time to grow. But if you wait to start big, you may never ever start. So start small and keep moving, keep improving, and you find that things will keep unfolding to a level where you wonder, like, wow, what if I didn't start? What if I didn't start? Just think about that. Just look at the things you see today that we are using and wonder and just ask yourself, what if they didn't do this? What if they didn't make a computer? What if someone didn't start making a computer? It will not be perfected where, to the level it is today. So there's something you will start today, and people need to plug in and perfect it. But if you don't start, you deny the whole universe an opportunity to perfect that thing that you're going to start. And most of the support you get in life, you get when you start. Start. Even if it's that business, just start. Because when we even go to the banks to ask for funding or for money, when you're seeking to scale your business or to start, most of the time it's very tough to be given funding when you're starting. So they need to see, what have you done with the resources that you have? They ask you, show me what you've done. So you wonder, okay, I want you to support me to start. Like, no, start something and show me a prototype. Show me something that you've worked on. Most people are ready to support you when they see you have taken initiative to do something with the resources that you have. Because let me tell you the truth, nobody is empty. Nobody lacks resources to start. Because if your resources is just the strength and the energy you have, see what you can do with what you have. Because so many times when you're starting, and this is what my mentor taught me, Dr. Wale, he taught me that most of the time we look without before we look within. Anytime you want to start something, you're looking like, who can help me do this? Who can sponsor me to do this? Who can fund me to do this idea? Who can? You keep looking without. Where can I get money to do this? Where can I get resources to do this? Before looking within and go like, do an audit of your resources. Yeah, and when I say resources, it may not be money. Most of the time most of the resources you have is your mind. Look at, what do I have that I can start with? If all I have is my mind, my brain, and my voice, I need to start doing something with that. Even as I wait for other things and other people to support me. People want to support something that is working. Many times we do even events, and we are doing interviews about entrepreneurship, and you're talking to young people about why they haven't, who want to start a business, and you ask why they haven't started. Most of them say lack of capital. And I ask them, what is capital? And they say money, or resources in terms of equipment, premises, and all that. And I tell them, capital is not even money. Capital actually came from a Latin word, caput. Caput actually means your mind, or the utmost part of your life, which is really your mind. So the word capital actually came from caput. So that means the biggest capital for starting is in your mind. And that's what we call this champion mindset. Because the way your mindset is what determines how you do things. Your mindset is very important. You have to set your mind. So for you to start, you first have to set your mind. Calibrate your mind to be in a place that you can start. Have your mind prepared, because your mind, as a man thinketh, so is he. So your brain, your mind, and how your mind is set is the biggest tool you need to start. It's not money, it's not other resources. The biggest resource you have is this. And this is what you need to first set. Okay, is what you need to arm, is what you need to equip, is what you need to always have a proper self-talk and tell yourself, I can do this. Because if you don't do that, however many resources you have, you can waste them if you don't have the right mindset. My mentor again, Dr. Ale told me, you can actually start with $1 billion and end with zero. But you can start with zero in terms of money and end with $1 billion with the right mindset. So your mindset is the biggest tool you need as you start, and you have your mindset with champion thinking and thinking, I can do this. At the beginning, you have to summon and tell your mind to really think properly, because if your mind is not set to win, you will never win, however strong you are. The man who wins is not the man with the biggest muscles. It's a man with the biggest mindset. Because as your mind, as you think, and as your mind is set, so will you be, and so will it be. So get prepared and prepare your mind in a way that your mind will support your ideas. Because however strong you are, if your mind doesn't support you, you're doomed to fail. And even as you fail, if your mind is proper, you can rise again and win. Most of the champions we see today, they have lost many times. Most of the big billion businesses we see today, they fell and rose. They went through challenges, but they reinvented themselves, and they are where they are today because they had to overcome things. And even people that you see today, they had to overcome so many things. So even as you start, it doesn't mean you succeed the first time. So be prepared. Be prepared that things may not go as you have planned. So if they don't work, as much as you do your best, you are able to start again. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is starting new every time. Because at times we do things that look successful, and we feel this is it. I cannot start anything new. And we have heard of companies that also delayed to reinvent themselves and to start again. And they went down because they had products that they thought were very successful. But even when times were changing, they didn't change with time. They didn't start again thinking about the ideas and thinking about new products. So even as you start and you have something successful, you always have to think about what is the next big thing. Is another thing. Dr. Ale always tells me, even as you're doing something and it seems to be working, it doesn't mean it will be working tomorrow. So even as you start and the thing seems to be working, it's always good to sit and think, what is the next big thing? What else can I start? Because this thing that is working today may not be working tomorrow. So you have to, for you to be sustainable, you have to be starting something that that can be a continuation of what you started. So starting and succeeding is not the end. It's always good to think about everything, starting new products, starting new things that can sustain you for the future. So that's some of the ideas that have been going through my mind. So let's start. Let's think big. Start small. If we fail, let's start again. And if we succeed, let's also think about new products we can do. And let's always think about the mindset. Because as your mind is, so shall you be. So let's have a champion mindset. And we are going to succeed and be an inspiration to so many other people. So that you don't see an idea on TV. Like one time I saw an idea on TV, I'm like, I had thought about this many years ago, and I didn't start. And at times it's very frustrating when you see things that have been done and you had thought about them and you could have done something about them. Because when an idea falls, it doesn't just fall on one person, it falls on many people. So it's a person who will start executing fast. We always say here at Talanta Institute that ideation without execution is hallucination. And you don't want to hallucinate. You don't want to be frustrated. You don't want to look at things and go like, I should have done this. And you're always in that thing of, I should have done this. I had this idea. And you live in regret, and that thing keeps eating you up. And every time you see it, you feel so discouraged. But when you start even if you fail, you'll have discovered a new way of not doing things, and it will have moved you a step closer to your destiny. Thank you so much, and keep sharing this. Keep sending us your comments and your ideas, and interacting with us on all these platforms. Like I told you, we are in the process of doing our studios. Today we were testing the virtual studio, and as you can see, we try and use the resources we have and keep improving to see what else can come out of this. So today we were testing the virtual set, because if you look at the real studio I'm using, it's actually something totally different. And as we build our studios, we'll be going through the journey with you, every step, just showing you what we are working on here at Talanta Institute. Thank you.